Alrighty. YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, we're coming here to talk about quarterback Sam Howell and how the Washington Commanders and a lot of people to do with this franchise was at his pro day. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case, our Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We're almost there, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's get straight into today's video. So, Sam Howell had his pro day a couple days ago, and the Washington Commanders had a ton of people in attendance. Like, a lot of people that has ties to this franchise or organizations was in attendance for Sam Howell, UNC's pro day. And it talks about how Washington still could possibly draft a quarterback, even though they traded for Carson Wentz about, let's say, 3 weeks ago. And amongst that list, Sam Howell has grown to be one of the names that could get drafted. And honestly, Sam Howell is a guy that I've really been sleeping on. As you guys know, I'm not a college watcher. I don't watch college basketball much. I don't watch college football much unless it's the big games like the playoffs and whatnot. And although I'm not a big college football watcher, I did actually watch Sam Howell, UNC's first game this past season when I want to say they played Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. Just because a lot of people that I know were talking about how Sam Howell was going to be a future quarterback prospect, coming up in this year's draft. So I actually watched that game, and he didn't strike me as a guy that could be a starter in the league. He didn't play terrible, but he didn't play great. So it was a lot of struggling early in that game, if I could remember correctly. But he eventually got it together. And then a lot of people later during that season said that he didn't have the season that they thought he was going to have coming off the season he had prior. And that's because he lost a lot of his playmakers like De'Ami Brown to the draft to the NFL, and we ended up drafting this guy, De'Ami. So a lot of people were surprised at the, not to say fall off, but the lack of success that he had following the 2021 success that he had, or 2020, 2021 success that he had. And again, that was due to a lack of his playmakers that he lost the previous season or to the NFL draft. And Sam Howell is a guy that I think, after really trying to watch a little bit of his film, could possibly turn into a starter. I think he would have to develop, maybe take a year to develop behind a bridge quarterback. But again, I don't think that's here in Washington. I don't think it's smart for Washington to be be entertaining a quarterback in this year's draft after trading for Carson Wentz. Couple things why. First, let me backtrack and go to the beginning of the video that we had a lot of people turn up for this man's pro day. So this is obviously a sign that we're intrigued with this guy. I think it's just Washington doing their due diligence, still trying to keep their name in that quarterback realm and quarterback world, just so probably bait somebody to possibly want to come up and trade with us maybe at 11. Because if we come out, even though we did get Carson Wentz, if we come out and say, and I believe Ron already said this, that he's our QB1, but if we come out and say that we're no longer looking for a quarterback in this year's draft, that devalues our pick at 11 if we wanted to move out. Now, it doesn't hold that much weight anyway, just because this QB class is looked at as not that strong. So a lot of people probably aren't intrigued to be trading with 11 to begin with. But if we come out and confirm that we're no longer looking for a quarterback, that's going to devalue that pick even more, at least in my opinion. So I think this is just Washington still doing their due diligence on these quarterbacks, just in case maybe in the third round, fourth round, one of these guys fall to us. But to be honest, before we get into his draft profile and would he fit with Washington, it's not smart to draft a quarterback if I'm Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew, and Marty Hurney. And I'm sure they know that. But the reason why I say that is because you just traded for Carson Wentz. You took on his contract for him to be your starting quarterback. And it's not just you did that, but you guys know how Carson Wentz is. He doesn't like having competition. He doesn't like having someone breathing down his neck, and no quarterback wants that. But he did it in Philly with Nick Foles. He did it in Philly with Jalen Hurts. When the Eagles told him, you don't have to worry about Jalen Hurts, it's just an insurance policy, he got to his head, and you know how he's mentally fragile. He doesn't like competition. He doesn't like no one breathing on his neck again. And I think if they draft Sam Howell, you will only be doing that. You will only be having Carson Wentz worried about, possibly losing his job. And that is not setting your team up for success. I don't think so. I think the way you get the best version of Carson Wentz is if you do what you're doing now, you come out and say he's the #1 quarterback on this roster. Just want you to know, Ron Rivera said this in the video, I just want you to know you're coming to where you're wanted. You're coming somewhere where you're wanted. I think the best thing for Washington to do is to continue to surround him with weapons. We didn't do that much in free agency, but we should be doing it in the draft. I think we're going to take a receiver at 11, and if we somehow trade back and one of these guys fall to us, I still think we're going to take a receiver. I just think the smart thing for Washington to do is to surround Carson Wentz with as much talent as possible. You have no time to have an insurance policy if Carson Wentz isn't that guy. Worry about that next season. This is a boom or bust season. This is all it in. You took on this giant contract for 1 year to see if this guy is the guy. So I think, again, Washington should do the smart thing here and to build weapons around Carson Wentz. This is a one shot at this. This is one shot at this. Who cares what happens next year? If you surround Carson Wentz with as much talent as possible and he still can't get it done, then you took a chance, you rolled the dice, you're back in 2023 trying to get another quarterback, and you're going to be in a much better crop of quarterback, according to a lot of you college football watchers out there, that the class next year is going to be way better than this one. So again, it just doesn't make sense. You're only messing up Carson Wentz's mental. You're only putting your team in jeopardy if you draft a quarterback, especially in the second round or first round or third round or something like that. Maybe the third round, but still, I wouldn't even draft a quarterback at all. Because just because of how worried I am of Carson Wentz. He doesn't want, and no one wants that as a starting quarterback, but especially Carson Wentz. You guys know he can't handle it. So the smart thing for this team to do is to not draft Sam Howell, not draft any quarterback, build weapons around Carson Wentz. You have Terry, you have AG, you have J.D. McKissick, you have Logan Thomas when he comes back and if he can stay healthy. You have Curtis Samuel, who we still don't know what he can do yet just because of an injury-riddled season. And you have De'Ami Brown, who I think will have a good second year. I see the work that he's putting in. Videos I can't keep getting, sucked in by him. I did that with Dwayne Haskins. So I learned that off-season videos don't mean much, but I am glad to see that he's working. But that's still not enough. I think you need another wide receiver a legit wide receiver to pair up with Terry McLaurin. I don't think Curtis Samuel is that. I think Curtis Samuel is more of a slot receiver / weapon. You can move him all around the field. He can play outside, inside, and he can play in the backfield. So I want that legit number 2. You guys know I don't care if it's a big body receiver or a burner. I just want another guy. I said in my previous video when I talked about Chris Olave, a burner would be special. Why? Because the Ohio State connection. Terry McLaurin is his NFL comp, and we would have track stars all around the field. Terry, Curtis, De'Ami, and Chris Olave, 4.3 speed everywhere. But then if we do get a Drake London, I'm not mad at it. But I do think they're going to be looking for more speedsters just because they feel like they have that one big body receiver. That's all you need. One big body receiver in Cam Sims that they just re-signed. So that's my stance on this. I don't think it's smart to draft Sam Howell or just any quarterback for that matter in this year's draft just because you want to go all in on Carson Wentz. That's the reason why you traded for him, to see what this guy has this year. Believe it or not, guys, this is a 1-year thing. It's a 1-year rental. We're going all in. This is it. So let's look at his overview. Stocky 3-year starter who plays with admirable confidence despite inconsistencies in important areas as a passer. How attacks the field, working for deep to short when he's allowed. When he is not a classic full field reader at this point, but has pocket poise and mobility to potentially develop in that area in the future. His muscle throws hinders his accuracy on dive throws, but he has the pendant arm strength and can expede off of platform throws. expedite off of platform throws. Howell doesn't throw with nearly enough timing on the ball placement, which forces wideouts into the boundaries or to break stride, limiting their yak potential. That wouldn't be good for Terry McLaurin, by the way. He flashed impressive dual threat talent in 2021, which should work in his favor. The 2021 tape was bumpy, but his makeup is really good and improving in areas that he struggled in the past. He is a guy that I think will succeed in the NFL, but it's just going to take some time to develop, and he has to be in the right vertical passing scheme if they want to get the best out of him. So that is the player overview of Sam Howell. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comment section. Would you still draft the quarterback? Would you draft Sam Howell? Let me know what you guys think about Washington going to his pro day. Do you think it is something that we should take legitimately, or do you think they're just doing their due diligence? As always, it's me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We're almost there, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm out. Peace.